The desert sky of planet Vora burned with orange light as twin suns sank behind jagged rocks. A young pilot named Rin guided his silver hoverbike through the dusty air. The engines hummed softly under his control. He had been flying for hours, carrying a shipment of microcells for a mining station far across the plains. The world beneath him stretched endlessly, filled with sand, steel wrecks, and broken machines left from old wars. The sky looked calm, but Rin knew how quickly the weather could change on Vora. The planet was famous for plasma storms that could turn a clear day into chaos in seconds. He checked the radar again. A few small clouds appeared on the edge of the screen. Nothing to worry about yet. He pulled his scarf tighter and leaned forward, the wind hitting his face as he sped up. Rin was a traveler, a human born on the central colonies. He loved open skies and the sound of engines. Machines made sense to him. People did not. That was why he chose this life, far from crowded cities and noisy stations. Out here he could breathe. A faint rumble came from above. Rin looked up and saw a flash of light across the horizon. His radar beeped in warning. Within seconds the clouds turned red. The air shook. He cursed softly and tried to steady the controls. A plasma storm was forming right over his route. Bolts of blue energy tore across the sky like wild beasts. The hoverbike's system screamed as the wind slammed into it. Rin tried to climb higher, but the magnetic field went unstable. Sparks flew from the console. He fought to regain control, his hands tight on the grips. The engines roared, then coughed, then died. The next second he was falling. Sand and light swallowed him. The hoverbike hit the ground hard, sliding across a dune before flipping over. The crash threw Rin into the dust. He rolled, groaning as his helmet cracked. When he finally stopped moving, silence filled the air again, broken only by the faint hiss of burning metal. Rin pushed himself up, coughing. His arm hurt and his clothes were covered in dust. The hoverbike lay twisted nearby, half buried in sand. Smoke rose from the engine. The delivery cargo was gone. The storm moved away as quickly as it had arrived, leaving only broken clouds and fading light. He tried to restart the hoverbike, but the console was dead. The energy cells had burned out and the power core was cracked. His communicator still worked, but the signal was weak. The nearest town was more than 50 kilometers away. He looked around and saw nothing but empty dunes and sharp cliffs. For a long moment he just sat beside the wreck, feeling the silence of the desert. Then in the distance he saw a faint glow. It looked like light from a small structure, maybe a workshop or an old outpost. Rin's heart lifted a little. He gathered his bag, covered his face with the scarf, and began walking toward the light. The walk took nearly an hour. The night grew cold, and the sand glowed pale under the moonlight. When he finally reached the source of the light, he found a metal building half hidden behind piles of scrap. Old engines, ship parts, and broken bots were scattered around it. A flickering sign hung above the door with faded letters that read, "Luna Repairs." Rin hesitated for a moment, then knocked. The sound echoed in the quiet night. No answer came. He knocked again, louder this time. After a few seconds, the door opened a little and a pair of golden eyes appeared through the gap. "What do you want?" a voice asked, calm but cautious. Rin stepped back slightly. "My bike crashed in the storm. I need help if you can fix engines." The door opened wider, revealing a girl in a mechanic's suit covered with oil stains. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders and her eyes shone like metal in the dim light. She looked young but carried an expression that seemed older than her face. There was something strange in the way she moved, quiet yet alert, as if she could hear every sound around her. "You came alone?" she asked, scanning the dark. "Yes," Rin said. "Just me and what's left of my hoverbike." She studied him for a few seconds, then nodded. "Bring it inside if you can. If not, I'll take a look tomorrow morning. The storm field is still active and I'm not stepping out there tonight." Rin smiled with relief. "Thank you. I can pay." "I didn't say it was free," she replied, turning back inside. "Name's Luna." Her voice was firm, not unfriendly, just careful. Rin followed her in. The workshop was larger inside than it looked. The air smelled of metal, oil, and faint ozone. Tools were neatly arranged on the walls, and several unfinished machines stood on work tables. A large repair drone hovered lazily near the ceiling, watching them with a red sensor light. Luna pointed to a small chair near the heater. "Sit there. You look like you got fried." Rin sat down and removed his cracked helmet. His face was tired, his dark hair full of dust. He poured a bit of water from his bottle and washed the sand off his hands. Luna walked past him, checking a monitor showing weather patterns. Her silver hair caught the glow from the screen, making her look almost unreal. "You can stay here tonight," she said without looking back. "But no wandering around. Some of my work is sensitive." "Understood," Rin said quietly. "Thank you again." She finally turned toward him, crossing her arms. "You talk polite for someone stranded in the desert." "Politeness keeps engines running," he said with a small grin. For the first time, Luna's lips twitched slightly, almost a smile. She shook her head and went back to the table, picking up a small piece of metal to polish it. The sound of tools filled the room for a while, steady and calm. Rin watched her move, noticing how focused she was. Every motion was quick and precise, not wasted. He also noticed the faint lines on her neck, almost like metal patterns under the skin. He didn't ask about it. Not yet. After a while, Luna said softly, "You're lucky you crashed near this place. There aren't many workshops left on this side of Vora. The storm planes eat most travelers." "Lucky, maybe," Rin said. "Or maybe the storm just wanted me to stop." She gave him a side look. "Storms don't care about people." "Then maybe machines do," he said with a shrug. That made her pause for a moment. Then she shook her head again and kept working. The heater hummed softly, and the night wind howled outside. Later, Luna handed him a small meal pack and told him to rest on a spare bunk in the corner. "I'll check your hoverbike in the morning," she said. "If it's not completely melted," Rin nodded. "Thank you, Luna." "Don't thank me yet," she replied. "I haven't fixed anything." When she turned away, Rin finally let his body relax. He watched her for a few moments before lying back on the bunk. The metal ceiling above him was full of tiny holes showing faint stars. The soft light of the heater flickered across the room, and Luna's shadow moved quietly between tools. Rin closed his eyes but didn't sleep right away. His mind replayed the moment she opened the door, the flash of those golden eyes, the way she spoke as if every word had been weighed before she said it. He had met many people in his travels, but none like her. Somewhere deep inside the workshop, a machine clicked. Luna's voice murmured something to herself. Then silence returned, heavy but peaceful. The night passed slowly. Outside, the plasma clouds drifted away and the winds calmed. When dawn came, a pale blue light filled the desert. Rin woke to the sound of footsteps and the faint whir of engines starting. Luna was already outside, wearing protective goggles and checking the broken hoverbike that he had dragged closer before sleeping. Rin walked out, stretching his sore arm. "Morning." Luna didn't look up. "Morning." "Your bike's a mess. Cores split, rotors burned, and your stabilizer is fused. You were lucky to survive." "I know," Rin said. "Can it be fixed?" She stood up and wiped the grease from her hands. "I can fix anything if I have the right parts. But it'll take time and work. Whatever it takes," Rin said. "I'll help." Luna finally met his eyes. There was a spark of surprise there, then a slow nod. "We'll see if you can keep up." The desert wind rose again, carrying sand across the wreckage. Rin looked around at the endless horizon and then back at Luna. For the first time since the crash, he felt a strange calm. He didn't know why, but something told him that meeting her here wasn't just luck. It felt like the start of something neither of them had planned. And so began the strange story of a lone pilot and the werewolf girl mechanic who lived at the edge of the world, in a workshop full of broken dreams and waiting engines. The morning sun rose slowly above the rocky horizon of Vora. The sky was clear now, bright and full of color. The sand glittered like gold, and small winds twisted across the open land. Inside the workshop, Rin stretched his arms and walked toward the open door. The smell of metal and oil filled the air, mixed with the dry scent of the desert. He saw Luna standing beside his damaged hoverbike, already busy with tools in her hands. Her silver hair shone under the sunlight. She moved with quick, smooth motions, tightening bolts and checking the power lines of the bike. Rin watched for a moment before speaking. "You start early," he said, stepping closer. "I don't sleep much," Luna replied, her eyes focused on the engine. "Machines don't fix themselves," Rin smiled. "I can help if you want. I'm not a professional, but I've worked on smaller bikes before." She gave him a brief look as if trying to decide whether to trust him with her tools. Then she nodded once. "Fine. Hold that stabilizer core in place while I weld the joint." Rin crouched down beside her and did as she said. Sparks lit the air as Luna worked. The heat made the metal glow for a few seconds before cooling again. The sound of welding filled the quiet morning. Rin felt the vibration of the hoverbike under his hands and thought about how much effort it would take to bring it back to life. You know your way around machines, he said while she adjusted the circuit lines. I had to learn, she answered. When the world stops caring about you, you fix what you can. Her tone carried a weight that made Rin pause. He wanted to ask more, but stayed quiet for now. He could see that she wasn't a person who liked too many questions. After a while, Luna stood and brushed off her hands. That's enough for today. The core is stable, but the power unit is still cracked. I need a replacement, and I don't have one here. Where can we find it? Rin asked. There's an old scrapyard about 20 kilometers north, she said. Mostly broken ships and hover tanks. If we are lucky, one of them still has a usable core. But the area is full of scavenger drones. They collect anything valuable and don't like visitors. Rin nodded. Then I'll go with you, she shook her head. You don't have to. You can stay here and rest. I can't let you go alone, he said firmly. You're helping me. It's only fair that I help you. Luna studied him for a long moment, her golden eyes unreadable. Then she gave a small nod. Fine, but follow my lead. Those drones can cut through armor. She went back inside the workshop to prepare. Rin followed and watched as she packed tools, energy cells, and a compact blaster rifle that looked well used. Her movements were confident, almost military. It reminded Rin of stories he had heard about the Lunar Wars, when human soldiers fought side by side with engineered hybrids, half human, half beast. Those soldiers were faster, stronger, and sharper, but after the war ended, most were abandoned or hunted down. As Luna adjusted the rifle strap, Rin finally asked, Were you part of the lunar units? She stopped moving for a second, then looked at him. You asked too many questions. Sorry, Rin said quickly. I didn't mean to offend, Luna sighed softly. It doesn't matter anymore. The war ended years ago, but people still see us as weapons, so I stopped being one. She walked past him and opened the side door of the workshop. A small hover cart waited outside, dusty and old, but still functional. Luna jumped in and powered it up. The engine hummed to life, floating a few inches above the ground. Get in, she said. We have a long ride ahead. Rin climbed into the seat beside her. The wind picked up as the cart moved forward, gliding over the sand. The landscape stretched endlessly around them, filled with rocks, old metal ruins, and the skeletons of long-forgotten machines. The world looked peaceful now, but every scar on the ground told a story of war. After some time, Rin said, You built this cart yourself, didn't you? Luna kept her eyes on the horizon. Everything I own, I built. It's easier to trust metal than people. Maybe, Rin said, but sometimes people surprise you. Luna gave a small laugh, low and quiet. Not on this planet. They rode in silence for a while. The sun climbed higher and the air grew hotter. When they finally reached the scrapyard, Rin saw mountains of metal stretching across the desert. Rusted starships lay broken in half, their hulls open like giant bones. Old drones drifted between them, scanning for parts. Luna parked the cart behind a large wreck and lowered the power to hide the signal. Stay close, she whispered. If a drone spots you, don't shoot unless I say so. Rin nodded and followed her through the maze of wrecks. She moved like a shadow, quiet and focused. Her golden eyes scanned every corner, her ears twitching slightly at faint sounds. Rin realized how different she was from ordinary humans. Her senses were sharper, her balance perfect. She wasn't just skilled, she was built for survival. They found a large ship half buried in sand. Luna climbed onto the side and opened a maintenance panel. This model used a compatible power core, she said. Help me pull it out. Rin handed her tools and steadied the frame while she worked. After several minutes of effort, they managed to remove a small cylindrical device covered in dust. Luna wiped it clean and smiled slightly. Still intact. This will work. Before Rin could answer, a high-pitched alarm sounded across the scrapyard. Red lights flashed on nearby drones. Luna's expression changed instantly. They detected us, she said. Move! A group of scavenger drones flew toward them, glowing red eyes and cutting lasers ready. Rin grabbed the spare blaster and took cover behind the wreck. Luna fired first, hitting one drone squarely. It exploded in sparks. Another swooped down low and Rin shot it with quick aim. The beam cut through the drone's side, sending it spinning into the sand. More drones appeared from the other side. Luna jumped forward, moving faster than Rin had ever seen anyone move. She grabbed one drone out of the air and smashed it against the metal wall. Her strength was unbelievable, but even she couldn't fight them all forever. "Rin, get to the cart," she shouted. "I'll hold them off." Rin didn't argue. He ran through the wreckage, carrying the power core in one hand and firing behind him with the other. Luna followed soon after, sliding into the driver's seat. The cart lifted off just as another laser hit the ground beside them, sending sand into the air. The chase across the desert began. The drones followed in a swarm, their sensors glowing bright red. Luna steered sharply, dodging blasts while Rin tried to shoot back. The cart shook from the impact of the wind and the heat of explosions around them. Rin shouted over the noise, "Can we outrun them?" "Not for long," Luna replied. "Hold on." She pressed a button on the console. The back of the cart opened, revealing a hidden turret. Luna grabbed the controls and fired a burst of energy shots. 3 drones went down, but more kept coming. The fight continued across the dunes until finally a single drone hit the engine. The cart lurched, losing power. They slid down a slope and crashed near a cluster of rocks. Rin coughed from the dust. "You all right?" Luna nodded, already checking her weapon. "We're not done yet." 2 drones landed nearby, their arms spinning with blades. Luna moved fast, firing and ducking. One drone exploded in a flash. The other aimed at Rin, but he rolled aside and shot it through the center. It fell smoking into the sand. When the last drone fell silent, the desert was calm again. The only sound was the wind. Rin looked around, breathing hard. Luna stood beside him, her hair messy and her face smudged with dust. She looked at the broken cart and sighed. "Engine's gone," she said, "but we got what we came for." Rin smiled despite the situation. "Then it's worth it." Luna turned toward him, her golden eyes softer now. "You fight well for someone who claims to be just a pilot." "I adapt fast," Rin said. "You taught me that already." For a moment, they both stood there quietly. The sun was setting again, painting the sky in red and gold. The wind brushed across the dunes, carrying the smell of burnt metal. Rin watched the horizon, thinking how strange it was that only a day ago he had crashed here. Now he was fighting drones with a girl who looked like she stepped out of a legend. Luna broke the silence first. "We'll have to walk back." "It'll take a few hours," Rin nodded. "Then let's go before night comes." They began walking, carrying the power core between them. The desert stretched endlessly ahead, glowing under the fading light. As they walked, Rin glanced at Luna again. She didn't talk much, but there was something in her silence that spoke louder than words. She had lived alone in this wasteland, building machines and surviving against odds. Yet even with her guarded nature, he could see kindness beneath the armor she wore. By the time they reached the workshop, stars had filled the sky. Both of them were tired, but the sight of the small building felt like safety. Luna set the power core on the table and looked at Rin. "You did well today," she said. "Not many people could keep up with me." Rin smiled. "I just followed your lead." For a moment, Luna seemed unsure what to say. Then she nodded slightly. "Get some rest. Tomorrow we start rebuilding your bike for real." Rin looked at her as she turned away to organize tools. The light from the lamp caught her silver hair again, making it shine softly. He felt something stir inside him, a quiet respect, maybe even admiration. She was different, yes, but she was also strong, brave and alive in a way that most people he met never were. That night, as Rin lay on the bunk again, he thought about the journey, the drones, and the next morning came with a soft orange light that filled the desert sky. The winds were calm and the air was fresh after the long storm that had passed. Inside the workshop, Luna was already awake and working. The faint hum of machines filled the space, mixing with the smell of metal and heated oil. Rin opened his eyes slowly. His body ached from the long walk and the fight with the drones. He sat up on the bunk and stretched his arms. Luna glanced at him but didn't stop what she was doing. Her hair was tied back now and her hands moved quickly as she tightened the bolts on his hoverbike's engine mount. "You work early," Rin said, his voice still sleepy. "I don't waste time," Luna replied without looking up. "The desert doesn't wait for anyone." Rin stood and walked closer. The bike looked better already. The cracked panels had been replaced, and the new power core they found was set neatly inside the frame. Wires ran from the stabilizers to the main unit, glowing faint blue. It almost looked alive again. He smiled a little. "It's starting to look like a real machine again." Luna finally looked at him. "It is a real machine. It just needed someone who cared enough to fix it." Rin nodded quietly. Her words carried more meaning than they sounded. He picked up a small tool from the table. What can I do to help? Hold the wire line there, Luna said, pointing. And be careful. If you touch the wrong point, it'll burn your fingers. Rin grinned. Got it. They worked together for hours. The sun climbed higher, and the air outside grew hot, but inside the workshop the air stayed cool from the shaded metal walls. Luna explained each part of the repair as she worked. She told him about the magnetic balance system, about how the engine needed to be tuned with perfect timing, and how every hoverbike had a rhythm of its own. You treat machines like living things, Rin said after a while. They are alive in a way, Luna answered. They have energy. They react to care and neglect, and they can fail when pushed too far. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Rin thought for a moment, then smiled softly. You mean like people? Luna gave a faint nod. Maybe, but machines don't lie. Her words hung in the air for a moment. Rin looked at her and realized she wasn't talking only about machines. He could see the quiet sadness in her golden eyes, like someone who had seen too much and trusted too little. They kept working until the engine roared softly for the first time. The sound filled the room strong and smooth. Luna wiped sweat from her forehead and stepped back. It works. Not perfect yet, but close. Rin looked at the bike with real joy. You did it. We did it, Luna corrected. Then she smiled just a little, a rare sight that made the entire room feel brighter. They spent the afternoon testing the systems. Rin climbed onto the seat while Luna checked readings on her tablet. The hoverbike lifted slightly from the ground, hovering steady. The engines purred, the lights blinked in rhythm. Rin felt a wave of happiness he hadn't felt in a long time. It feels perfect, he said. It's not perfect yet, Luna replied. You still owe me a real test flight. But before that, it needs a few more adjustments. Rin laughed. You sound like a teacher. Maybe I am, she said, tightening a bolt. You're my student whether you like it or not. They worked until the light outside began to fade. When evening came, Rin helped Luna clean the tools. The desert wind blew softly through the open door. The suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and red. Do you ever leave this place? Rin asked as they sat near the door drinking water. Luna looked out at the endless dunes. Not often. There's nothing out there for me. There must be something you want to see, Rin said. Somewhere you wish to go. She hesitated for a long moment. I used to dream about seeing the ocean, she said quietly. I read about it when I was a child. Endless water, blue and alive. But hybrids like me were never allowed off Vora after the war. Rin turned toward her. You deserve to see it someday. Luna looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting the fading light. You talk like someone who still believes in good things. Maybe I do, Rin said. Someone has to. For a moment, they both sat in silence listening to the wind. Luna's expression softened slightly, and Rin could see the person behind her guarded shell. She wasn't just a mechanic. She was a survivor of a world that had forgotten its heroes. Later that night, Luna showed Rin how to repair an energy converter. She guided his hands as he soldered a wire. Her touch was firm but careful. He could feel the warmth of her presence even through the gloves. You learn fast, she said. You teach well, Rin replied. Luna gave a small nod and stepped back. Maybe you're not just a pilot after all. I'm full of surprises, he said, smiling. She almost smiled back but quickly turned away, hiding it. Don't get too proud. Machines don't care about pride. They care about patience. I'll remember that, Rin said. As the night went on, the workshop lights glowed softly. The sound of the desert faded into quiet peace. Rin worked beside Luna, fixing old circuits and cleaning metal parts. It felt strange to him how comfortable he felt here already. He had met Luna only a few days ago, but it was like he had known her for years. At one point, Rin noticed a small scar on Luna's wrist that looked like a burn mark shaped like a number. He looked at it for a moment, then looked away before she could notice. It reminded him again that she had once been part of something bigger, something painful. After a long silence, Luna finally spoke. Why did you come to this side of the planet? Most travelers avoid it. I was on a delivery route, Rin said. I travel where people don't want to go. It pays better. She raised an eyebrow. Risking storms and thieves for money doesn't sound smart. Rin shrugged. Maybe not, but it keeps me free. I like being on my own. No one tells me what to do or where to go. Luna looked thoughtful. Freedom is expensive. I know, Rin said softly. But so is being trapped. Their eyes met again for a brief moment. There was understanding there, quiet and deep. Both of them had lived in different worlds, yet both carried the same longing, to live by their own choices. They continued working until late at night. When the final adjustment was done, Luna turned off the lights one by one. The workshop grew darker, lit only by the glow from the hoverbike's engine. "You can take the test flight tomorrow," Luna said. "If it runs fine, you can continue your journey." Rin nodded slowly. "And what about you?" "I'll stay," she said simply. "This is my home." Rin looked at her for a long moment. He didn't say what he felt, but inside he knew he wasn't ready to leave yet. Something about this place, about her, made him feel like there was more to discover. That night, as he lay on the bunk, Rin thought about Luna's words. He thought about her strength, her calmness, and her sadness. The world had turned her into something different, but she still cared enough to fix what others broke. He wondered how many machines she had saved over the years, and how many people had failed to notice her kindness behind her quiet voice. The next morning, Rin woke early again. He found Luna sitting outside the workshop, watching the sunrise. She looked peaceful, her hair moving with the wind. Rin joined her, sitting beside her quietly. "The sky looks different today," he said. "Every day it changes," Luna replied. "But people rarely notice." "Maybe they don't look close enough," Rin said. Luna smiled faintly. "Maybe." After breakfast, they prepared for the test flight. Rin checked the controls while Luna adjusted the stabilizers. When everything was ready, Luna stood back and crossed her arms. "Let's see what you've learned," she said. Rin started the engine. The hoverbike lifted smoothly, the wind brushing against his face. He steered it forward, feeling the balance, the strength of the new core. The bike moved like it was alive again. Luna watched from below, her eyes following every motion. Rin circled above the workshop and landed gently beside her. He jumped off, grinning wide. "It flies perfectly." Luna checked the readings on her tablet. "No overheating, no vibration. You did well." "You mean we did well," Rin said. Luna looked at him for a moment and gave a small nod. "We did." They spent the rest of the day fine-tuning smaller parts and cleaning the engines. Every time their hands brushed while passing tools, Rin felt a quiet spark of connection. He didn't know if Luna felt it too, but she didn't pull away. By evening, the hoverbike was ready for travel again. The machine stood shining under the sunset light, a symbol of patience and teamwork. Rin looked at it with pride, but when he looked at Luna, he felt something deeper than pride. He felt gratitude. "Thank you for everything," Rin said. "I couldn't have done this without you." Luna looked at the bike and then at him. "You're welcome. But remember, machines are easy to fix. People are harder," Rin nodded. "Maybe that's why I like machines. But maybe people are worth fixing too." Luna didn't reply, but the look in her eyes said she was thinking about it. As night fell again, the two of them stood outside the workshop, watching the stars appear one by one. The world was quiet, but their hearts were not. Both of them knew something was changing, though neither spoke of it yet. Somewhere deep in the distance, a faint mechanical sound echoed through the night, a sound that would soon bring new trouble their way. But for now, under the starlit sky, they stood side by side, surrounded by silence and the hum of the hoverbike that had brought them together. The morning air was cold and crisp on planet Vora. The desert stretched endlessly under a pale sun. Rin and Luna had spent the night resting, preparing the hoverbike for travel. The workshop had been repaired after the minor damage from the previous day, and the air smelled of metal polish and heated oil. Rin checked the fuel cells for the hoverbike. Everything seemed ready for a smooth journey. Luna was outside, moving quickly among scattered tools and old machinery, her golden eyes scanning the horizon as if expecting trouble. "You look tense," Rin said, handing her a small wrench. "I've learned not to trust the quiet," Luna replied. Her voice was calm, but her sharp eyes betrayed caution. "Some things don't wait for warning," Rin nodded. "Like drones yesterday?" She glanced at him and then returned to her work. "Not just drones. Scavenger patrols, bounty hunters, rogue AI units. They still hunt hybrids like me," Rin paused. He had suspected it, but hearing it from her made it real. "You've survived this long?" Luna smiled faintly, almost grim. "I know how to disappear and how to fight. That's all you need out here." Rin finished the last check of the hoverbike. Its engines hummed with life, ready for the open desert. He stepped back, wiping sweat from his brow. "It's ready," he said. Luna nodded and tightened the straps on her small pack. "Good. Let's make sure it stays that way." The day began quietly. Rin and Luna moved between repairs and preparation. The sun climbed high and the desert seemed peaceful, but the calm was misleading. From far across the dunes, faint signals began to pulse through the air. Luna's ears twitched at the sound, her body stiffening immediately. "Drones," she whispered. "They are close." Rin felt his pulse quicken. "How many?" Luna scanned the horizon, her golden eyes sharp and alert. "Several. More than yesterday. They've come prepared." Rin looked around the workshop. They were exposed. The scattered metal and old machines could provide some cover, but the drones would be relentless. He glanced at Luna, and she met his eyes with a calm readiness that made him trust her instinctively. "They won't get past me," she said quietly. "Stay behind me and follow my lead." Rin nodded. "Got it." The first drone appeared over the dunes. It glowed red, its sensors scanning for heat and movement. Luna didn't hesitate. She fired a quick shot from her blaster, hitting the drone's main rotor. Sparks flew and the drone crashed into the sand. Rin grabbed his own weapon, aiming at another drone that moved closer. He fired a pulse shot, striking the drone's energy core. It exploded in bright sparks. Luna was moving faster than he had ever seen, diving behind scraps of metal and firing with deadly precision. "Keep moving," she shouted. "Don't stop." Rin followed her through the workshop, ducking behind piles of metal. More drones appeared, flying low and fast. Their sensors glowed red in the sunlight. Luna twisted her body, dodging a laser beam and firing a shot that cut a drone's arm in half. She moved like a shadow, her reflexes impossible to follow. Rin fired at the drones, trying to help as much as he could. One came too close, its blades spinning. He rolled to the side just in time, feeling the wind from its spinning arms. Luna jumped, her feet barely touching the ground, and smashed it with a precise kick. The drone crashed with a spark, and Rin took a deep breath, amazed at her strength. "You're incredible," he shouted over the noise. Luna didn't reply. She fired at another drone, moving like a force of nature. Her golden eyes glowed in the sun, and her silver hair whipped around her face as she fought. Rin realized that she wasn't just fast or strong. She was in perfect control of herself and the situation. More drones appeared from the distance. Their swarm seemed endless. Luna ducked behind a metal hull and whispered, "Get the hoverbike." "I'll hold them off," Rin hesitated. "Alone?" "Yes," she said firmly. "Trust me." He nodded and ran toward the hoverbike, dodging laser fire. Luna fired from behind the metal scraps, moving with speed and strength that made him wonder if she was more than human. Her shots hit every target, cutting through drones before they could reach him. Rin reached the hoverbike and jumped on. Its engines roared to life, lifting him off the ground. He circled over the workshop, firing at drones that tried to follow. Luna jumped onto the roof of a nearby building, leaping and twisting in the air, taking out several drones with precise shots. "You can't keep them all," Rin shouted. "I don't need to," Luna shouted back. "Just get ready to move." Rin nodded. He realized she was buying time for him. He flew the hoverbike over the dunes, circling back toward the workshop. Luna moved with incredible speed, taking out drones one by one. Her movements were calculated, every step precise, every shot perfect. Rin's heart pounded with adrenaline and awe. A large drone swooped down faster than the others. Luna leaped into the air, dodging its attack, and slammed her foot into it. Sparks flew as it crashed into the sand. She landed lightly on the ground, her breathing steady, her eyes still sharp and focused. Rin landed the hoverbike near her. "We need to get out of here," he said. "Yes," Luna agreed. She ran toward the back exit of the workshop, her movements quick and silent. "Follow me." They sprinted across the desert, the hoverbike hovering nearby. The drones pursued, their sensors glowing brighter. Rin climbed onto the bike behind Luna, holding her tightly. She jumped onto the vehicle from the side with a single motion, her feet landing firmly. "Hold on," she shouted. The hoverbike lifted off the ground. Luna took control, her hands moving over the controls with confidence. Rin could feel the speed and power beneath him. The wind whipped past them as the desert blurred below. The drones tried to follow, but Luna's skills were unmatched. She dove and twisted, avoiding lasers and countering every attack. Rin watched her closely. The girl who had seemed quiet and calm was now a force of nature. Her strength, agility, and skill were extraordinary. He realized again why she had survived all these years. She was more than a mechanic. She was a warrior, a protector of the weak and the forgotten. They flew across the dunes, dodging and weaving. Several drones exploded behind them, and the desert echoed with sparks and fire. Rin felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with fear. He held on tightly, trusting Luna completely. Finally, after what felt like hours, the last drone fell. The desert was quiet again, the only sound the wind rushing past them. Luna landed the hoverbike on a flat dune and jumped off. Rin followed, breathing heavily. "You all right?" he asked, looking at her. "I'm fine," Luna replied, checking her blaster. "We need to move before more come." "They will return," Rin nodded. "That was incredible." "You saved us," Luna shook her head. "We saved each other. I couldn't do it without you handling the hoverbike." Rin smiled faintly. "I'll take that as a compliment." Luna didn't answer, but the small curve of her lips showed a hint of a smile. The desert wind blew, carrying the scent of metal and burning circuits. The sun was low now, painting the dunes in orange and gold. They stood side by side, breathing heavily, but both knew that the fight had bonded them in a way nothing else could. "We'll need to repair the workshop and reinforce it," Luna said. "Scavenger drones don't give up easily. They will come back, and next time they might bring more." "I'll help," Rin said. "Whatever it takes." Luna looked at him for a long moment. Her golden eyes seemed softer now, and Rin felt a strange warmth inside him. She was strong, fierce, and brave, but beneath it all, she was still human in ways she rarely showed. They returned to the workshop, working together to clean and repair. Sparks flew, engines hummed, and the desert night grew dark around them. Rin noticed how precise Luna's movements were, even after the fight. She didn't complain or falter. She just worked, focused on the task at hand. When they finally finished, Luna stepped back and looked at him. "We're ready for now. The workshop is secure and the hoverbike is safe." Rin nodded. "You're amazing, Luna. I don't know what I would have done without you." She glanced at him, her golden eyes meeting his. "You would have survived, but I'm glad you didn't have to find out." They stood there in silence for a moment, the desert wind moving around them. Rin realized he felt something more than gratitude for this girl. She had fought for him, protected him, and shown him strength he had never imagined. For the first time, he understood what it meant to truly trust someone. And he realized that Luna, the werewolf girl mechanic, was no longer just someone who fixed his hoverbike. She had become someone who had touched his life in a way no one else ever had. The sun set completely, leaving a sky full of stars. The workshop glowed softly under the lights they had set up. Rin and Luna worked side by side, knowing the desert night was quiet for now, but aware that more challenges awaited them. Somewhere deep inside, Rin felt a promise forming, a promise that he and Luna would face whatever came next together, and that their journey was only beginning. The desert dawn broke slowly, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and gold. Rin stood outside the workshop, stretching his sore muscles after the long night of repairs. The hoverbike gleamed under the first light, polished and repaired completely. Luna had worked tirelessly, her golden eyes alert, checking every wire, every stabilizer, every piece of the engine. "You did it," Rin said softly, admiring the bike. "It's perfect now." Luna didn't respond immediately. She crouched by the engine, running her fingers along the metal. "It will hold. But machines aren't the only thing that need care." Rin looked at her, sensing the meaning behind her words. She wasn't just talking about the bike. He nodded, staying quiet, giving her space. "Breakfast first," she finally said, standing and brushing her hands off. "Then we can plan the next step." Inside the workshop, the small stove hummed as water boiled. Rin handed Luna plates while she prepared simple food. The two ate in quiet, letting the calm of the morning fill the space. The desert outside was peaceful, but Rin knew better than to think it would last. After breakfast, Luna pulled out a small map of the desert and nearby trade routes. "We need to decide your path. Drones and scavengers will still patrol, and you can't travel without a plan." Rin leaned over the map, tracing the routes with his finger. "I want to keep going, but I don't want to put you in danger." Luna shook her head. "You're already here. Danger is part of this world. You survive by being smart and quick. I'll manage myself." They worked together, planning a route that avoided known patrols and rough terrain. Rin studied Luna's methods, realizing how careful and precise she was. Every detail mattered, every choice could mean survival. By midday, they were ready. Rin climbed onto the hoverbike, checking every control. Luna stood beside him, holding a small bag of supplies. Her expression was calm, but Rin could see the alertness in her eyes. "Are you coming?" he asked. Luna hesitated. "I'll wait until the path is clear. Then I'll join you." Rin nodded. "I'll be back, and we'll continue from there together." He started the hoverbike, feeling the smooth power of the engine beneath him. The machine lifted from the ground, gliding above the desert. Rin's heart raced with excitement and a little fear. He knew the path ahead was full of unknowns, but he also knew he wasn't alone. Luna's guidance and protection had already taught him more than he had learned in years of travel. The first hours of travel were calm. The desert stretched endlessly, but Rin felt alive in a way he hadn't before. He looked back at the workshop, a small dot in the vast sands, and felt a connection to the place and to the girl who had saved him. Suddenly, the hoverbike's sensors beeped. A faint signal appeared on the radar. Rin's eyes narrowed. "Scouts," he whispered. He adjusted the controls, flying low over the dunes to avoid detection. The signal grew stronger. Shadows moved across the desert. Rin's pulse quickened. He knew that the drones had found their trail again. Luna appeared suddenly beside him, running at incredible speed across the dunes. She leaped onto the hoverbike's back, gripping his shoulders. "Hold on!" she shouted. Rin adjusted instantly, feeling her strength stabilize the bike. Together, they moved through the desert, dodging incoming drones that appeared from the shadows. Lasers flashed across the sand, striking rocks and leaving small craters. Rin's fingers flew over the controls, weaving the hoverbike between obstacles while Luna fired from the side, taking out drones with pinpoint accuracy. "You're faster than I imagined," Rin said, shouting over the wind. "You'll get used to it," Luna replied. Her golden eyes glowed with focus and determination. "Keep steady. Don't make sudden moves." The chase continued for what felt like hours. The drones pursued relentlessly, but Rin and Luna worked as one. Each maneuver, each shot, each dodge was in perfect sync. Rin realized that this was more than teamwork. It was instinct. Luna had taught him to trust not just the machine, but her and himself. Finally, after a long stretch of dunes, the last drone exploded in a shower of sparks. Silence returned to the desert, broken only by the hum of the hoverbike's engines. Rin and Luna exhaled, their breaths heavy but steady. "You did it," Rin said, smiling at her. "We did it." Luna gave a small nod, her expression softening slightly. "For now. But there will be more. Always more." Rin looked at her, and for the first time he realized how much he had come to care, not just for her skill, but for her courage, her heart, and the quiet strength she carried. He had come to the desert alone, thinking he only needed machines to survive. But Luna had shown him that people, even strangers, could change everything. They flew back to a small oasis they had scouted earlier, a hidden place with water and shade. The hoverbike landed softly near the water's edge. Luna stepped off, brushing the sand from her clothes. Rin followed, feeling the cool breeze on his face. "I could get used to this," Rin said, looking around the oasis. "Maybe you should," Luna replied, her eyes scanning the horizon. "It's safe here for now, but the desert doesn't stay quiet forever." Rin nodded. "Then we make it our base, together." Luna looked at him, her golden eyes soft and reflective. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she crouched near the water, filling a small container. Rin watched her, noticing how natural she looked in this moment. Strong, capable, yet human and vulnerable at the same time. He knelt beside her, helping with the supplies. "I'm glad I met you," he said softly. Luna glanced at him, a small smile tugging at her lips. "You don't say that often," she replied. "I mean it," Rin said. "I don't know what I would have done without you." "You survived," she said, her voice calm. "I just helped. You fought too." "Yes, but I learned from you," Rin said. "And that's worth more than anything." The sun dipped lower, painting the desert in deep orange and red. Rin and Luna worked together, setting up a small camp near the oasis. They repaired the hoverbike fully, checked their weapons, and prepared for any future threats. Every movement between them felt natural, connected. That night, under a sky full of stars, Rin and Luna sat beside a small fire. The desert was quiet, peaceful, and the air smelled of sand and distant flowers. Rin looked at Luna, seeing her golden eyes reflecting the flames. "You know," he said, "I didn't expect to find someone like you out here. Someone who Changes everything. Luna looked at him quietly. Maybe I didn't expect to meet someone like you either, she said softly. Rin's heart skipped. He realized what he felt was more than gratitude or admiration. It was connection, respect, and something deeper that he had never felt before. I want to stay, he said. Not just for the journey, but for you. Luna's expression softened. She reached out, touching his hand briefly. You're welcome to stay. But this world isn't easy. It won't wait for feelings or comfort. I'm ready, Rin said firmly. For the desert, the machines, the drones, and for you. She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. Then we'll face it together. The fire crackled between them and the stars above shone bright. The desert was vast and wild, but Rin felt a sense of home he hadn't known before. Luna was strong, fierce, and unyielding, but she had allowed him to see her humanity. And in return, Rin had shown her that someone could trust, care, and stand by her in a world that often did not. Over the next few days, Rin and Luna worked side by side. They repaired and improved the hoverbike, secured the workshop and oasis, and prepared for future threats. Their bond grew stronger with every task, every laugh, every shared moment. Rin learned to anticipate Luna's movements, and Luna learned to rely on Rin's instincts. By the time the suns were high and the desert winds calm, Rin realized he had found more than a workshop or a repaired hoverbike. He had found a partner, someone who challenged him, taught him, and made him feel alive. Luna was no longer just the mechanic who rebuilt his hoverbike. She was the person who had stolen his heart, without even trying. And as they stood together at the edge of the oasis, watching the desert stretch endlessly before them, Rin knew one thing for certain. No matter what the future held, they would face it side by side, hearts and machines working as one. The desert was wide, the horizon endless, and the stars would shine for them. Together they were unstoppable, and together they would write their own story. Rin reached for Luna's hand, and she didn't pull away. In that quiet, shared moment, the vast desert and all its challenges faded away. They were not alone anymore. They had each other, and that was enough. The journey was just beginning, but for the first time, Rin felt truly alive.